Thanks for tuning in for another essential RC flight test, and here I have the new PT-17 Stearman from my new friends at Dynam. So with any scale radio controlled model aircraft, a representation of a full-size aircraft, I like to do a little bit of research. I'm not great on full-size aircraft recognition or pretending I know their history, so I like to do a little bit of research, and I'll share that with you for your benefit. So the Stearman Boeing Model 75 is a biplane formerly used as a military trainer aircraft, of which at least just 10,626 were built in the United States during the 1930s and 1940s. Stearman aircraft became a subsidiary of Boeing in 1934. Widely known as the Stearman, Boeing Stearman or Cadet, it served as a primary trainer for the US Army Air Forces, the United States Navy, and with the Royal Canadian Air Force as the cadet throughout World War II. After the conflict was over, thousands of surplus aircraft were sold on the civilian market. In the immediate post-war years, they became popular as crop dusters, sport planes, and for aerobatic and wing walking use in air shows. Interesting, didn't know all of that, so well worth looking up. So let's not hang around, let's take the components out of the box, let's see what we get. So I wouldn't normally go into this much detail with unboxing, but it's really interesting to see that Dynam choose to package the components in more cardboard boxes. There is absolutely zero chance anything is going to be damaged in transit. And components all out of the box. So this is the blue and yellow version. There is a yellow version as well, which they show on the box. Quite a few components. This is a biplane. So starting with the fuselage, you can see at the front we've got that nice moulding to represent the radial engine that would have been on the full size. Nice propeller here to suit the electric motor, and the cockpit comes off with this catch at the back. So you can see inside the speed controller, 50 amp with a 5 amp UBEC. That's going to hold our 4-cell 3000 LiPo in place, the straps there. And then we've got 2 servos for the rudder and elevators and the steerable tail wheel, I suspect. Wire landing gear with the wheels and the wings. And it looks like the servos are on the bottom wing, I suspect. Already in place, just have to connect those up. Long leads all the way through into the fuselage. And then we've got the vertical stabilizer and rudder, which just get glued in place, even maybe screwed in place with that plastic mounting. So it shouldn't take too long to put this together. And we'll go through the steps of assembly now. Okay, starting with the landing gear, take the wire struts, put on the wheels by taking off the wheel collars, and then putting those back on. You may need to drill out the holes in the wheels so that they rotate freely, and then put the collars back on, making sure to put the grub screws back in place tightly with some Loctite, I would advise. And then you put the covers for the struts on, these blue foam pieces, and then you're ready to attach that onto the bottom of the fuselage. Then use 10 screws to secure the back plate for the landing gear in place. What I also did was put a spot of medium super glue in each of the holes first, so that the screws definitely had something to bite onto. So next step, attaching the horns to the control surfaces at the back. So the horns for the elevators attached, and screws going through to the backing plates on the back. You have to make sure that the horn is actually on the inside of each elevator, so that it lines up with the push rods. What I did find, unfortunately, was that the screws were not long enough. So the screw on the right is the one provided, and the one on the left is what I've had to use. It's significantly longer and it only just gets through, so that's what you have to find. Now unfortunately in my case the horn for the rudder is the wrong type. There are only 3 horns provided, and the horn should actually be on the bottom like that, but that's obviously facing the wrong way around, and it has to be at the bottom so it clears the bottom of the horizontal stabilizer. So I'm going to have to find something out of my own supplies that does exactly what I need. Next I put the tail wheel in place. It is nice how the wire on the top of the tail wheel has a flat on it. You just have to push it into the hole and then get to the grub screw through this hole with the provided Allen key and tighten that up. So next I've attached the vertical and horizontal stabilizer to the fuselage. I decided to glue those 2 pieces together and glue those onto the fuselage because there are going to be forces exerted on them. You could rely on just the 2 long screws that you put through the bottom of the fuselage through them, but I don't think that's a good idea because they are going to have forces exerted on them while you're flying, so best to have it firmly all assembled. So that's what I've done there. Especially liking how the blue on the tail feathers matches the blue on the fuselage. And then these supporting wires in place, putting these springs on either side connected to these plastic pieces which are already on the horizontal and vertical stabilizer, and then connecting with this bit of wire nice and loose. And then the same to the bottom, but this one turns out to be quite taut, which is good compared to the one on top, which I was just laughing about. I don't really see the point of that, but maybe just for scale effect. So next, attaching the 2 lower wing halves together on the provided carbon tube. In my case the carbon tube was too long, so I had to reduce it by about 10mm so that the wings did butt together nicely. And attach the lower wing to the fuselage using 4 long screws. And attach the struts to support the top wing to the bottom wing and the sides of the fuselage with the provided bolts. Now for the top wing, and the plan should have been to insert a 4mm carbon joiner tube into that recess on both sides of the top wing and glue them together, but unfortunately that was missing. The tube was not included. I think it should have been, so I've just had to use a birch stick slightly filed down, and I will glue that in place instead. With that joiner in place, I can now put this top piece in place to cover it up. And I will weight that down with something heavy and wait until the glue has set. So struts attached, easily done. Although what I did find out was that I had put these on the wrong sides, so I've corrected that easily. But then I've also found out that I should have put these on at the same time, the wires that go across, so I'll do that now. So that's the wires installed. There are 2 lengths, so you have to install them correctly. Obviously the short wires go from here and from the back down to here, and the longer wires go from the top on the outside of the wing down to here and there. So last step was to attach the prop, which I've done with the washer and provided bolt. I've put in my receiver, as you can see in there, and guided the wires for the lights. I've taped those to the sides of the struts and guided them in through the side of the fuselage. And all that's left to do really is to put the decals on and to set up the transmitter. So I will save that for the first time we take it down the flying field for its maiden flight. So if you'd like to see the video of that, why not click on subscribe, click on the bell icon so you get notifications of our video uploads, and you will see that soon. So thanks for watching this unboxing and assembly of the Dynam PT-17 Stearman, and we'll see you soon.